Rolling. And we are live. The RINO podcast, episode 59.
59.
59. It is a fantastic episode, and we are super excited to be with you. It's been a couple weeks.
Yeah, sorry guys. So last weekend I was dealing with an issue with a pool, so I couldn't we couldn't film this weekend. Sorry.
That's okay. We are going to recap just in time for all the press that has come out of the Massachusetts GOP political convention in Springfield, Massachusetts, where I got to play 4-card poker at the MGM Grand, and I lost $150. But
I did not gamble at all, everybody. Sorry. I am a stick.
You should have. It's a nice casino. I encourage you all to head out there.
But I stayed at the coolest Airbnb that was like 20 minutes away. That was actually, so you all know that I don't really like trains, but I do like antique trains. And this was the caboose of a old train.
It was. You showed me the picture. It was very cool.
It was very cool.
You got to post that on Twitter. Did you post the picture on Twitter?
I will, now that I am not in that location anymore.
Okay. Yeah. Do that. Do that. It was a pretty cool location. You should check out that Airbnb. Wow. A lot to talk about MassGOP and the convention coming out of it. I don't even know where to begin. Okay. Well, let's, I guess, start at the top, and then we can get into the details. I'm going to say this. Chris Doty, who we met.
Wait a minute.
Okay.
We need to start from the actual top. You and I met up at Starbucks that morning. We went and got our huge Starbucks, and they wouldn't let us bring it in. So we need to start there.
Okay. I'm down for that.
Yeah.
I told you that might happen.
It was hot as hell that morning, and they wouldn't let us bring our iced coffees in, and that was bullshit.
Yeah, I probably should have bought a grande or a tall instead of a Trente. Well, I kind of knew that, and I'm sitting outside. I drank maybe half of it before I walked into the venue. And, of course, there was no coffee available that was consumable, which I don't know. What is this thing where you go into a venue and they won't let you bring in, like, it's a political convention. You think they could bring in coffee. Like, I'm not bringing in spiked coffee. And by the way,
they were selling alcohol there.
Yeah, they sold beer, which was nice. I did have a beer I needed a beer. Oof, after some of the speeches, I needed a beer. But that was kind of bullshit. Kudos to the Chris Doty campaign for giving out breakfast sandwiches on the corner opposite of the convention hall. But we had breakfast at Starbucks. I who knows? Probably like regulations of the what was the DCU Center? No, what was the name?
Yeah, it probably wasn't a regulation of them.
But well, anyway, the night before. Well, all right, we're all over the place here. All right, let's start at the top. Chris Doty, who nobody knew from a hole in the wall, spun up his campaign in about the time of a cup of coffee, and we did not know if he would make 15%, and he made 30%,
which was a big deal.
That now you're looking at, like, if you're an outside observer, if you're not inside the bubble like us, you look at that and go, "Oh, that's terrible." No. This group that attends this convention is the inside of the inside of the inside of the bubble. And there's there was 1,500 people, and that's about it. That's about the people who we circulate with and all this crap who care about this, like on the Facebook pages and in the Twitter groups and going back and forth in the DMs. About 1,500 people. To get 350 of them to go, yeah, no, definitely not Jeff Deal. Let's do the normal, successful business guy. Let's pick him. That's a big deal. That's huge.
Yeah.
And
The Doty campaign did a really good, I've been talking about this with you, Jeff, privately, but the Doty campaign has been doing a really good job. I think of getting their message across and being very clear about what they're standing on, what they are, their platform could be. And their messaging has been so effective. It's just been such a good campaign. And I remember before the convention, getting some phone calls because I think that they were probably nervous about getting the 15. So seeing that they got the 30 was awesome.
overachieved,
Yeah.
overachieved
I,
big time.
yeah.
And look, coming out of convention, Jeff Deal's campaign is like, we are the endorsed candidate. And, that might have meant something when the party had money and influence, but it does, being the endorsed candidate doesn't mean squat unless the party has resources.
It doesn't mean squat if your burn rate's really high. And
Yeah.
that needs to be said. And a burn rate means that you're spending more than you're taking in.
And maybe Trump will come and do a fundraiser or do an event. I don't think you're going to net a lot of that money. He's going to want a lot of that money. He's going to want a lot of that, those accolades, and it'll give you a bump for a minute. And if you have it sometime in the middle of the summer, it won't mean anything because the primary's in September. Doty is normal and nice and likable and successful, and probably has access to deeper pockets than Jeff Deal does. And I can honestly say, I made this call. I'm going to say he wins the primary. It's June 1.
He's going to have to.
But
Let's talk about this right now. The convention is a lot of the inside bubble people. We knew that Jeff Deal was probably going to walk away with the endorsement, but Doty getting 30 was good. We have an open primary here. So if you're an indie, you can vote in this primary, and it's going to be very important. So anybody who is on Chris Doty's campaign watching this right now, you need to start messaging to independent voters to vote in our primary in order to, because and the thing is that those indie voters are affected by the same things that we are as Republicans that we care about, right? So you're going to need to start doing that, and you need to message that effectively. You need to be very clear on what you all want people to do.
There is a weird paradox taking place in our state right now, where there are a fair amount of left wingers and Democrats that watch this show, and what I'm about to say, you need to pay attention to. The idea that a non-competitive Democratic primary benefits Maura Healey is untrue. She benefits. This is the thing. If Sonia Chang Diaz does not get 15% and Maura Healey walks away with the nomination for the Democratic Party for governor for 2022, what that means is no independents in September will go to the polls and vote for her possibly. What that means is those independents will all right, I'll vote. You know what? I'll vote for the guy who's kind of like, all right, he's not the Trump guy, or the not the kooky guy that I hear about all the time. They'll go to the polls on primary day in September, and they can vote for Chris Doty. Maura Healey wants Jeff Deal. Maura Healey wants to run against Jeff Deal, wants the tomato can opponent, okay? She does not want to run against somebody who's perceived, whether they are or not, more moderate than Jeff Deal. She wants to run against Jeff Deal, who is the Martha Coakley of the other side, if you invert the parties on that. She wants to run against him. It's a reasonable scenario, but weirdly, she is better off if there's a somewhat competitive primary with her and Sonia Chang Diaz. because like as you mentioned, Kaitlin, the independent vote, most of voters are independent. 54% of voters in Massachusetts are independent and can pull either ballot, one or the other, on primary day.
Yep.
Really important.
Yep. And so I think Chris Doty needs to start looking at that, seeing what, within whatever budget he has in his little war chest. And you need to start getting the literature out on that, to pull those have those NDs pull that Republican ballot and vote for you in this primary. We really need it. So yeah, no, do we want to talk about the rest of, and we are hoping that Chris Doty, sorry to move on. We were hoping Chris Doty comes on the podcast soon. We spoke with him personally about that. And we're going to try to book him so we can get him on and talk about Mass Poly and some issues around the state.
Absolutely. We'll work on that. And if he decides not to, we'll respectfully respect his wishes.
No, he straight up told me that.
But you look, if being on something called the RINO, even though it's ironic that we're super conservative, I'm willing to respect that. If he's like, no, I don't know, but it's fine. I think he will regardless. But yeah, okay. So now let's get to the rest of it. All right. Highlight for me. Keynote, Byron Donalds, right? I have that right. He was fantastic. Just absolutely knocked it out of the park with a great keynote speech. Terrific. Overshadowed by all the other bullshit we'll get to in a second. When
you mentioned Big Ron, there were a lot of cheers.
So, all right. So, side note here, all the aftermath of what we've heard, like the Globe has written three articles since convention about how, three separate articles within the span of a week and a half about how the Mass GOP is dead and the Mass GOP is this or that and the Republican Party of Massachusetts needs to do this. It's like, guys, if you gave that much of a shit, why would you even write? Why would you waste the ink?
Right. Well, and that's the Boston Globe, right? Like you and I personally know what Mass GOP needs to do to appeal to people because we are actual normal people with normal jobs and normal lives. But don't listen to the Globe. They're a bunch of idiots. But at the same time, like we're identifying actual issues within the state party and we talk about them. I mean, and the thing is that we were at convention. Byron Donalds was so good in the beginning. I mean,
great choice.
His speech was awesome. And Ron DeSantis got a lot of organic cheering.
There was that, and in some of the Globe reporting from people who would be on the Trump side, who were Jeff Deal people, 3 separate people quoted in the article who were.
Was it that Trump person that we're talking about?
I don't know. Maybe we'll take that offline, but they were people that were quoted in the Boston Globe with their name, and they're like, well, I'm looking for somebody younger. We're looking for somebody who can be Trump but is not Trump.
Oh, is it?
So essentially, what's that?
Another Florida man?
No. I mean, no. It's Ron. It's Ron E.D.
It's big Ron.
But what I'm saying is the people at convention uniformly were not like, no, definitely Trump 2024. The people quoted in the article were like, okay, yeah, we cheered, but no, really, we kind of want Ron DeSantis. Like they were there, like they were openly on the record there.
You and I were there. Like we listened to Byron Donalds. We heard the cheering for Ron DeSantis. I mean, the thing is that later on in the day, as Trump has mentioned, the cheering had to be egged on, I think, a little bit.
Yeah, it was manufactured. So who was
more than people would like to admit.
Who was Tom Homan? What's his name? The guy who was ICE director.
Yeah, who I actually like. The thing is that when he was in his position as acting director of ICE, he completely schooled. I think it was AOC.
Oh yeah, that was beautiful.
Yeah, like he completely schooled her on what ICE does and border security, which was great. The thing is that border security is important. I think Massachusetts sometimes doesn't really recognize that as much as they should
And
because it's Massachusetts.
as a side note to Jeff Deal, if you can't just randomly send the Massachusetts National Guard down to the Mexico border to enforce you literally lack the authority and can't send the Massachusetts National Guard down to our southern border to protect it. You could send it to maybe the Rhode Island border, but you can't send it to our national border.
Well, we don't have
I
to
know he
run.
said that in the speech, but he
Oh
lacks the
yeah,
power to do that. That there's
right. So the former acting director of ICE did a very long speech where it was just like, okay, like you need to.
oh, dude. All right. So let's first of all, Tom Homan. Am I getting that right? I think that
I
was
think
his
so.
name. Okay. Great 15 to 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Then, like, it was, he rambled on for another 30.
It was not great.
I got up, I went to the bathroom. At that point, I actually got a beer, and it was barely the crack of noon when when I got that beer. Because
I
I mean,
agree.
I like the guy, I agree with the guy, but holy shit, buddy, wrap it up. Like 20-minute speeches, man. That is it. He went on for 50, close to an hour of the same stuff, and you just gotta he was repeating himself. You gotta be reasonable and like just kind of wrap it up and get on point with your message, which was good, but not delivered as succinctly as it needed to be.
Yeah. Yeah, just went on way too long. I was walking around when I think the pro-life guy was talking, so I didn't get to hear him. But do we want to move on to the candidates?
Well, I want to say that he was from 40 Days for Life, I think that was. And he was, I actually really enjoyed his speech. He was fantastic. And let me give a kudos to my often punching bag of Jim Lyons. You got good speakers.
Oh, wow. Jeff, oh my God.
No.
Wow, you're complimenting Jim.
I look, I saw this coming out of the Twitter traffic, and they're like, well, there were no lawsuits coming out of convention, so that's a win. And, you know,
There's no lawsuit.
I mean, like, these are very low bars to clear. So I'm like, okay, well, that's all right. That's something. There were no lawsuits. Granted, we had one in 2014, and, okay. I mean, it's a low bar, but we cleared it. No, Byron Donalds was terrific.
Yeah,
the gentleman from 40 Days for Life I liked a lot. He did a great job. Tom Homan, good call. Maybe trim up that speech. Went way too long. On the whole,
massive Trump cheering, but yeah.
Yeah, well, but like you said, it was manufactured. It wasn't organic. He like went back out there and led this Trump chant, and and to our constant troll, Paul, when Jim came to the mic and yelled your name for all to hear, I don't know what you did, but boy, oh boy, were you in trouble, because he goes to the microphone and yells Paul's name. Come to the committee, or whatever it is, to come to backstage. I was laughing at that point. I think I texted you.
No, yeah, no, I DM'd Paul and I was like, Paul, what's going on?
What'd you do, buddy?
No, he explained it. He was like, there was some type of issue with his.
So I want to give credit where credit is due. Okay, the convention went off relatively without a hitch.
Well, thank you, John, for that.
Milligan?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he did a good job. No, look.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. It's like I'll pat, and now the poke comes. Rayla fucking Campbell. Holy shit. All right. So
So
let me say,
can
yeah.
I start off by
Yeah.
saying, Rayla,
Go for it.
if you need somebody to help you find professional clothing to wear on for these types of speeches, please reach out because we
No.
need to get you some theory shifts that are very professional ASAP.
Well, I'll defer that to you because I'm not. Rayla Campbell was around last cycle. Um, she's out of her goddamn. It's just like, Turtle Boy Sports knows that she's fucking out of her gourd. She is batshit crazy. And she's going to be the nominee for Secretary of State. And I wonder, what in your mind, if you could choose, would you choose a competent progressive or an absolute batshit conservative in office? That's your because literally that's your choice right now. What's your choice, Kaitlin? Who would you vote for?
Line blank.
Really?
I have no problem.
I may tick the box for. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm not voting for a progressive. No, I'm
No.
done with this shit. They're the reason why my gas is $4.87 right now. And it goes from the local to the top because they all believe the same thing. Yeah, line blank.
I mean, depending on the level of crazy, and I haven't gotten there, I may line blank, but I might go batshit crazy conservative just because they may lean more in the direction they may.
I mean, it's a red wave. I probably will end up voting for her because,
So first of all, let me say this on her speech where she's talking about, we can talk about it frankly on this podcast because we're not, we're not on we don't have FCC airwaves to worry about. She's talking about like 5-year-olds being taught to suck each other's dicks and absolutely insane stuff.
Oh my God.
Well,
when that came out, I had like
when
literally 5 people in my DMs being like, what the fuck?
I was probably one of them.
I was like, honestly, I was like, yeah, what the fuck?
So there's no real evidence of that directly. And there's a good reason for that because it's probably not true.
It's so absurd.
It is absurd. She's an absurd person. She's a fucking maniac. And let me tell you this, like, Rayla, like, you can come after me on Twitter or social media. Like, I'll fucking bury you. Like, I am not, like, I will come at you hard. You're fucking nuts. I might agree with you 70, 80% of the time on issues, but I'm not afraid to call you like batshit crazy. Everybody who's dealt with you knows you're batshit crazy. There's nobody that hasn't dealt with you that doesn't know you're batshit crazy. You got the nomination for Secretary of State. Run with it. Make some money. Do your thing. I don't care. But holy crap, that was the story coming out of convention because we, as a party, have decided to let these fucking bonkers people into it and give them a platform. And we don't have to.
Not even that. It's not even that, Jeff.
It's unserious.
We have the unserious. Like, the thing is, like, going from Anthony to that, like, I was like, what the hell? And, like, we love Anthony. Anthony's speech was amazing.
R.I.P. Rest in peace, Anthony.
Yeah. I collect signatures for Anthony. I got 3 women in designer bags assigned for him just by correctly identifying their designer bag and being like, hey, can you sign for Anthony Amore for state auditor?
Good.
But yeah, no, from going from Anthony to that, I was like, what am I listening to?
And if your defense of that is like, well, that's just me being me. Like, well, you being you is trash. Like, it's trash. Sure. It's a trash way to act. It's low rent, trash, skank behavior. And like, if that's you being you, well, big fucking deal. Like, nobody cares. Like, it's still trash. But it's true. Look,
Jeff is really going there tonight.
I am, but here's the thing, Kaitlin. Here's the thing. People like that who behave that way, let them full out, let them run their mouths, let them do whatever thing. Like, because if shit comes to shit, like, you know, this is what the thing, like, the normal people in our party, this is the vast majority of the party, is normal people, but they get, you know, like, people like that, like Rayla, who are fucking bonkers, get in people's faces, and you're kind of like, oh my God, you back away, and you're a little bit scared. You're like, oh my God, this person's nuts. I'm staying away from this. I'm walking away. Well, here's the thing. You don't walk away because they're kind of bullies. They're like progressives in a sense. They bully people. They talk shit. Yeah. They get in your face. The thing is, you get back in their face. You tell them to shut the fuck up. You're out of your goddamn mind. Shut up. Go away. And usually when you do that, everybody else sort of understands, oh, yeah, they are out of their mind. They are out of their mind.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, this will be a distraction for a little bit, but honestly, it's like a 12-hour story. It already came and went. Nobody's going to care too much.
I mean, hers was like the biggest thing out of the convention, right?
Yeah, because she said some insane
she
thing.
Said the 5-year-olds doing what? God, I don't even want to repeat it because it's just so absurd.
Disgusting. It's disgusting. And
yeah,
she's disgusting for saying it. So, yeah. Well, I mean, that was the headline coming out of it. But what fascinates me out of the whole thing is the idea that, you know, Jeff is the endorsed candidate, which there's no meaning behind that. That used to mean something when, like, Baker was the endorsed candidate because he had the power of the party behind him, which had resources, money, you know, an organization behind it. There's none of that. He's broke. The party's broke. It means nothing. Like, it's June 1st. We've got 5 months until the general election. Jeff Deal has to raise a lot of money. I don't know where that money's coming from. He's going to maybe raise $100,000, $200,000. That's not a serious gubernatorial amount. Chris Doty's going to raise a lot of it. I just buy that sheer, you know, as people get to know him, he's going to put out advertising that he's a nice, friendly guy.
I think that Chris Doty is going to put out advertising and literature where he focuses on the actual issues in a way that the messaging is clear and concise and what he wants to envision his, if he wins, what that's going to look like. I just don't see this out of Jeff Deal. I mean, I'm getting Doty literature all the time.
Well,
I'm like seeing everything on Instagram, on Facebook, and also on this with Jeff. I just don't see that campaign stuff at all.
Even if Jeff were to mirror identically what Chris Doty says, economic issues, whatever it is, he doesn't have the resources or the money to duplicate it. He can mimic the messaging, but he won't have the resources to put together the advertising. He just won't.
Right.
And this whole play worked out because Jim wanted to poke at Charlie Baker for an additional, for Charlie Baker running for the 4th time. This is what people don't consider. Haven't seen it in the Globe or anybody's analysis. If Charlie Baker were to run this year, if he were to have run this year, it would have been his 4th campaign. He ran in 2010, 2014, 2018, and then 2022. That's a lot. That's draining and tiring, okay? So I don't blame him for retiring or taking a pass and, like, you know, COVID and all the bullshit that he had to put up with. Okay, he's done, all right? You're done. That can be exhausting. So new blood Chris Doty's hungry for this. This was a forced campaign by Jeff Deal and Jim and Rick wanting to put Jeff forward into this position. Plus, you have the money-making aspect of it with talk radio. I talked to some delegates about this. I'm like, you know how this works, right? And I'm about to say things I probably shouldn't say on record, but I'm going to say it anyway. How this works. A talk radio host has on the candidate, and they say, this candidate's great. Go support this candidate. That talk radio host's audience then donates to that candidate. That candidate then takes those donations and they buy advertising on that talk radio host's program, thereby enriching the talk radio host. Let me tell you, folks, let me lean into the camera. That's how this works. That's what's going on. If you think this is some genuine populist uprising, it's not. It's a grift. And we're living with it. That kind of crap needs to end. It's dirty, it's part of the game. It's what it's what you have to deal with when you delve into this universe, but it is part of the game. It's what's going on. Unfortunately, I don't think they saw any of this coming, and I think Chris Doty has a really good shot of winning the whole thing. Despite... Yeah.
Again, Chris, I know that your people watch this. If they do, you really need to start hitting those indies hard on for the primary, reaching out to them and asking them to get their Republican ballot.
Yeah, this is huge. Yeah, because I'll tell you, there's not going to be a competitive primary on the Democratic side. So you have those open independents. You get those 250,000 Baker voters who vote independent who are like, oh, crap. You ID those, and they're out there to be ID'd. The Baker campaign...
Reach out to them.
The Baker campaign knows exactly who they are. You get those people. You get those people to vote for you. You're the Democrat. I mean, you're the Republican nominee against Democrat Maura Healey, and it's done. Yeah. And then then it's who the hell knows? Who the hell knows?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is like, guys, like, inflation's not going to get better. Supply chain issues clearly are not, they're not getting better. Gas is only going up. And Maura Healey is the face of those gas prices going up in the state because her policies that she's been talking about going after fossil fuel companies or whatever the fuck she's doing. I mean, the cruelty is the point, and she's the face of the cruelty. So
yeah.
She does not understand the plight of the working class or the plight of any, middle class person in Massachusetts. She does not understand it at all.
Anything else coming out of convention that you can think of that we should touch on?
No, I mean, I just had a great time. Do we want to talk about how they released the secret ballot?
Yeah. Well, no, it wasn't secret. No. Well, here's the difference.
It wasn't secret, but they've never released this ballot before, and then they released how everyone voted.
They said at the beginning that they said this is not going to be a secret ballot. It will be an open ballot, meaning I forget. Well, actually, there's one thing I want to talk about. So what it was is we sat in these sections, and the sections were designated by your state Senate district. Okay, so I'm in the 4th Middlesex. So I sat in that section. When it came time to vote, I went over to my state committee person, and I said, Chris Doty or Kate Campanelli for LG. And they recorded my vote. And then that was on my tally with my name. And that was all known beforehand. What wasn't known beforehand was they were going to send out an email of how everybody voted. That's a bit interesting. So what I think is going on here is they say it's about transparency. Well, we're being fully transparent. I think they're fucking with people, but here's what they don't get. Here's what they really don't get. They're fucking with people to be like, see who voted for Doty? why don't you go put pressure on them and bully them that we're Jeff Deal supporters, we're Trump people, we're the okay,
I already got that
like
when I was sitting down in the area when they were just like,
yeah,
when I was wearing a Jody, they were like, well, you know that he voted for Hillary, and I was like, well, Deal voted
for Biden and Obama. Fuck, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, so this is the kind of thing where I'm like, you want to release this after the fact as some bullying little tactic or some bullshit because you don't need it as transparency. Nobody fucking cares. You get that, I guess, tactic. But we were there. I went, everybody was around me, and they were like, I heard deal. And I go, Doty. Like, just Campanelli to their face because I'm like, you guys are doing this because of, talk radio. And talk radio wants you to vote that way. It's a bullying tactic. And
I clearly don't listen to talk radio. Sorry, Howie Carr.
No. Podcasts where I'm not in the 20th century.
It's for me, it's basically commentary and the editors and Ruthless at this point.
Yeah, which is great, which is a good diet of podcasts. It's better than the talk radio. But that's what they were trying to do. I mean, let's cut the bullshit. This is what they were trying to do. So look, this is what more, non-talk radio listeners who care about the party, who care about the country, who know that the crazies are out there, who go like, are you fucking nuts for supporting Rayla Campbell? Like those people, like the people who are like, are you nuts for supporting Rayla Campbell? Those people need to go grab your balls and look your bully in the face and go, fuck you. I'm voting the way I'm voting for it. And you're not going to intimidate me and you're not going to talk shit. And I'm going to get back in your face because you're fucking nuts and you're a loser. And then when you do that, it's a freeing experience. It is a freeing experience because too many people worry about, well, they're going to say mean things to me and talk about Trump and call me a RINO. Let them. They don't know what they're doing.
As I said today about being called a RINO, guys, here's the thing about it. You should just laugh when people call you a RINO because it is a joke. Like, you're going to vote conservative. You have conservative principles. That's not argument. Like there are actual RINOs out there that are like libs in the, Republican. We could talk about a few RINOs that are actual RINOs on this podcast, but we don't.
The former co-host of my old podcast.
He's absolutely a RINO.
Yeah.
And he is very blocked on Facebook. But anyway, I haven't told you that. But anyway,
good for you. No. You were smart to do that.
Yeah. Anyway, just laugh when people call you RINOs if you're an actual conservative. Like, if you vote Republican and you put people in power and you support good candidates and all that stuff, you're not a actual RINO. It's just funny. It's ironic. Like, and they're using this term in a bad way when it's actually just kind of funny that they keep throwing it around.
Yeah. Pretty soon, the serious people will take back over this party. And we will start running shit like it's supposed to be run.
70-30.
Yep. And we will kick out the people who just want to be loud and stupid. And we will start running it like how it should be run. And we will start winning. And it's going to happen. It's going to happen. I'm going to be part of making that happen. I look forward to it. I look forward to the fight. It's like, I listened to like I read some of the quotes in the Globe and the paper about, oh, well, he's fights. I'm going to fight them all. We're going to fight the fight. And Jim Lyon's going to fight the fight. Well, you know what, Jim? Has anybody considered the fact that you're bad at fighting? Because he is. He's bad at fighting. He's not good at it. Okay?
Right.
And look, I'll give people kudos for running a reasonably decent convention, okay? Nothing bad happened. There were no big problems. But party's still broke. We're still losing elections. You're still playing politics within the party and backing, Jeff for governor when Jeff is probably going to lose the primary. Like, there's a lot of things going wrong that just need to be run straight. I look forward to correcting all that stuff. I'll say this, the one part, they talk about a successful convention. My first vote for Kate Campanelli, they're reading off the tallies, and I was early in the tallies. We're like the fourth Middlesex, so we were the fourth group called. And they're like, 8 Allen, 0 Campanelli. I'm like, hello. I literally stood up. Maybe you even saw me there, Kaitlin, because you were in a different section. But I stood up. I'm like, no. I shouted no.
Like,
and that was me. That was literally me going, no, idiots. Because they said, if they had said 1, I would have been like, okay. Because it was me being the 1. But because it was 0, I'm like, you fucking morons. Like, no. I actually voted for. How could it be 0? It wasn't 0. So they even screwed that up. And I want to, my poor state committee man, who I like a lot, who's a good guy, and he's a deal guy. He's a Trump guy, but I like him. And I was like, I won't even say his name, but I was like, I know this isn't you, but if somebody's fucking around, I'm going to lose my goddamn mind. And I'm standing there like 2 feet from Jim going like, waiting for it. They corrected it, but still, it was like, are you kidding me? The first vote that takes place, they screw up the count of it. And, just out of incompetence, not even out of malice, but didn't bode well for my thoughts on the overall process. But still, I'll give them a C+, B- for convention, something like that.
Yeah, I had fun at it. C+.
Yeah. C+.
B-. Yeah.
Okay, B-. What did I forget? Anything else?
No, I think we got it all.
All right, we got it all. All right, we will be back with our next episode. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Maybe they'll write a 5th article about the MassGOP eventual descent into irrelevance that the Globe can't. You've written, like, if you're a writer at the Globe, like, give it a fucking rest. Like, how many times are you going to write the same goddamn article that, like, oh, the MassGOP is irrelevant? Well, okay, if we're that irrelevant, stop writing about it. Okay?
They want it. They want it. They want
do.
That opposition so bad. And the thing is that, guys, they take pleasure in the fact that the MassGOP is so inept. Like, that's the thing. Like, so we don't need to be inept. We don't have to be like that.
It's the only thing they have, because nationally they're going to get their fucking clocks cleaned in 2022.
And they know it.
They know it. And every
full-time operative guys that I talk to on background, they know that it's coming. They know that Biden can't lead the party. They know that Nancy Pelosi can't message where the damn they haven't passed anything on Biden's platform. They know that inflation is their fault. Mm-hmm. They know that they say that inflation was their fault, and that they knew that passing that Recovery Act in March 2021 was going to cause more of it, because it was going to inject fiat in, and you're going to have a high demand, and that was going to make prices surge. They knew. They know that gas prices are high because of their policy. They know.
Yep.
They do it on purpose. Cruelty is part of the point, but they don't know how to control it now. And that's the problem for them.
Yeah. And bashing the MassGOP and writing breathless articles about how it's declined and irrelevant over and over and over again is the only little cudgel they have in a world where they're going to get wiped out all across the country. So I take some.
They know it's coming.
It's coming. So I take some, I take some heart in that, with that they're desperately clinging at things. But here's the other X factor. We did an episode a few months ago. There's going to be a scandal dropping.
Yeah,
and I heard about this. When it's starting to bubble up, and your fair-haired girl ain't going to be so fair-haired anymore. It's going to happen, and it's real, and we know the
Well, she
details
never
of it.
really fair haired. She was the Hillary Clinton of Massachusetts. But anyway, yes.
Yeah. It's coming, and it's coming this summer. And I mean, shit, Kaitlin, if it doesn't happen like when I think it needs to happen, I might even just release them. I mean, just qualify.
I mean,
it with that. But it's coming, and when it comes,
oh,
what's that? Sorry.
I feel like it's an open secret and people know.
It's open secret. It's really an open secret. And when that secret is not, is open fully, we'll be pouncing and seizing on it. You can fucking guaranteed. And because you're going to have your own little Me Too moment, and it ain't going to work out like you think it is. Because it's going to, I guarantee you, that's going to be worth at least 6 or 7 points in the polls. And we're going to hit it and drive it home because it's absolutely unethical. You paying attention? If you're paying, we're into minute 45 of this podcast. If you're paying attention and you like this show, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you're in the media, Republicans will be pouncing, and
the RINO can be pouncing.
Yeah, and we'll have national media backing it up. Okay, we'll have, the Globe won't be able to ignore it because it will be on major platforms, and it will happen. And we are absolutely going to drill it home till we smash you, back into the corner office where Republicans rightfully belong. All right, that's this episode of the RINO Podcast. Go to patreon.com/RINOPod. We had a great episode for the Patreon that I'm going to upload shortly. Only $1 a month. We appreciate all our patrons. Subscribe for the best political commentary this side of the Connecticut River. All right, we will see you guys next time. Have a good night. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.